Let's cue the sad music, shall we? To be honest, I didn't think I would have to make another video like this, but here we are. If you can't tell from the title, this game is now completely, officially cooked. As much as all of us love this game, every single day since it released, it just slowly crept to its demise. At one point, I genuinely played this game like every single day, and being able to become a content creator within this game just made that feeling that much better. Now, as you can see with my last two videos, it's been a real roller coaster with the state of this game, but now I can comfortably say that is all over. As of today, this game was officially canceled by Sobi and will probably never be receiving any updates ever again. I just want to say this genuinely sucks because I was really rooting for this game and I thought they could make an insane comeback if they just logged in and just started updating frequently again without, worrying about so much drama. But not every story has a good ending. So I want to briefly go over what actually caused this whole canceling to happen, because I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, so I'm just gonna quickly go over everything. For starters, a content creator under the name of Romeo was recently fired by the new Outcome Memories team, and this led to a lot of people kind of going crazy online because Romeo was probably the most popular and respected Outcome Memories creator at the time. He was the community manager for the entire game, and he was a person a lot of people in the community held to a very high standard for, their own reasons. I do want to say I'm not the biggest Romeo fan, but nor do I hate him either. I'm literally just neutral on all of this, so yeah, there's that. But shortly after he was fired, Romeo quickly went to Twitter to express his frustration about how poorly the situation was handled and how he just woke up to being cut off from the team randomly, with little to no explanation according to him. I'm sure you can see why this is bad, because at the time, people could only go off of Romeo's word about this situation, so it quickly led to people kind of citing riots in a way under his comments, sending hate towards the dev team and the new owner, and just all types of things that shouldn't really be happening. And it didn't really help the fact that the next 2 days, the tweets got more, I'm not gonna say hateful, but they got a little bit more personal. Romeo was saying things like, OM is screwed, and the devs are targeting me, and how the new management is just really suspicious. And I understand explaining your frustration, but with a platform like that, it brought nothing but a lot of people to just attack the dev team and just quickly pick sides in the situation. All of this without the full context of the situation, by the way. But shortly after, around 2 days, Sobi came out with an announcement in the Discord showing how Sobi and a few other people got into a Discord group chat with Romeo to try to settle things. Now at this time, around 90% of the community had already sided with Romeo, so there was pretty much nothing the devs could do to make them change that. Unless they outed him as like doing some insane heinous things, there was nothing you could show the community at this point to make them switch up on Romeo. You can see how this is a problem because the community is basically split between the people who are just in full support of Romeo and then the people who are waiting for the full context of the situation. Now going back to the announcement Sobi made in the Discord, it basically contained a video of 3 people confronting Romeo about his actions on Twitter. Basically how they didn't respect the fact that on Twitter, unintentionally he was bringing loads of hate towards the dev team through his tweets. And they just doubled down on the fact that he was fired because his availability didn't match their new plan of restructuring for the team. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel about this situation at the end, but for now, let's continue. The video ended with the devs apologizing for their vague posting and Romeo admitting to his wrongs. But 90% of the community still continued to side with Romeo after this, saying that he was emotionally manipulated into apologizing. And Romeo basically doubled down on this also, going on Twitter shortly after, saying he was emotionally manipulated. Now I'm going to explain to you why this is just a dumpster fire for the dev team. Basically, because of this situation, every time they post anything on Twitter, YouTube, or any new information, it's just going to be filled with a bunch of people saying, bring back Romeo, or why did y'all kick Romeo out? Basically, kinda their own community is siding without them in a way. So at this point, they had pretty much no choice but to cancel the game because it was a passion project that they weren't making money off of. So it makes no sense to continue it if most of their community doesn't even like them at this point. Very, very sad reality to see this game go out like this, because I genuinely did love this game at one point and I wanted to see it make a comeback. Now, for the people who want to know how I personally feel about this, like I said, I'm not the biggest Romeo fan. I don't understand why the community holds him up to such a high standard. In my opinion, I don't think he's the savior of our memories, and I definitely don't think that he was our beacon of hope, but that's just how I feel about it personally. These are my opinions. I feel as if a lot of people just jumped onto the Romeo love train because at the time, pretty much every other big figure in the Outcome Memories community was outed as being kind of a terrible person at the time, so he was the only one left. This doesn't make him the savior of our game. This just makes him a decent human being. He's no better than Sobi or Bonely, and in my personal opinion, he's done worse things than them in the past, aka banning people for playing that one Metal Sonic skin, the time when he trashed on the Reddit community without actually having the full context and even apologizing after admitting he was wrong, and also all the times he was being a crybaby on Twitter in the past at almost every minor inconvenience, like him saying we don't deserve the game that Sobi made and things like that. And like I said, I don't hate Romeo or anything. He literally apologized for all these things and said he was getting better as a person, which I wholeheartedly respect. But how come we pick and choose which devs we want to give the benefit of the doubt to? How come when Romeo makes his mistakes and he apologizes, we forgive him and then continue to look at him as God and the savior of the game for simply doing the bare minimum a community manager should be doing? But when Sobi and Bonely make their one mistake during the Altaz situation, they get looked at as the scum of the earth and like they're just worse than Hitler. And mind you, Romeo is older than both Sobi and Bonely. Sobi's literally still a kid. Not that being a kid is an excuse in any way, shape, or form, but I don't see how we can't give the 17-year-old who's the literal owner of the game that we love the benefit of the doubt the one time he makes a mistake, but we can forgive the actual adult after he feeds us another excuse of how he's bettering himself for the 10th time. Because what? He makes Hope and Prosper videos on YouTube using dev characters? And I don't say this to sound slanderous. Like I said, I'm neutral in this situation. And as the neutral party from the outside looking in, there is a clear bias of who you guys respect and like more. It's just that sometimes I think you guys forget who's the actual one who made this passion project from the ground up. Nobody is perfect. So why do some of you guys expect Sobi to be so, especially when he's 17, but we can ride or die for Romeo? And to those who think that he was fired so suddenly and it was unfair, I 100% understand that. But to that I say, the community isn't owed a reason as to why Romeo got fired. I just don't get why a lot of you guys counter arguments to the devs are, there's still no real reason why he got fired. That is none of our business. From a neutral perspective, the video footage of them in the group chat is literally just them being blunt and completely upfront about everything with Romeo. It was not emotional manipulation. Romeo is a full-grown man who is worthy of his own choices. If he feels like he was being manipulated into apologizing, he has every right to not apologize, especially since he was already fired at the time. He doesn't owe them anything, especially an apology. I'm not saying that Romeo is a bad person. I'm not saying that I hate Romeo, and I'm also not saying that he was completely in the wrong in this situation. All I'm saying is that Romeo is a person who lets his emotions get to him over actual logical thinking, and he has admitted to this multiple times, saying that he would get better at this. Yet he still makes the same mistakes on Twitter, even after saying that he would stop doing things like this and better himself. All I'm saying is that going on Twitter and saying things like, OM is screwed, this dev team is targeting me, and the new dev team is very, very suspicious, is going to send a lot of hate towards the dev team, and as a grown man, he was fully aware of that. But yes, I do think making him apologize and immediately posting the video after he said he wanted a little bit for them to actually think this through is a bit harsh. And yes, I think the statement they had about firing Romeo was a bit vague, but like I said, us as the community, we aren't owed an explanation. I just find it very hypocritical how after the Astronova situation, pretty much majority of the community agreed that we should let all the details of the things that are happening within the dev team be handled within the dev team. But when it comes to Romeo, you guys won't stop until y'all get a reason as to why he was fired, and that said reason has to be valid in y'all's heads. That is super hypocritical and also a clear bias in my head. And also, I don't know if this is real or fake, but here is screenshot proof of Romeo knowing that he was going to get fired before they even made the announcement in the Discord. And if this is real, again, this means that he quickly went to Twitter to paint a narrative that he was super clueless and was just so unjustly done, which as you can see in this screenshot, that's not the case if this is real. Now I know a lot of you guys in the comments are gonna quickly think I'm just hating on Romeo and being quick to defend the devs, which is just not true, but I know I can't stop people from thinking what they want to think. There's gonna be a lot of you people who think if I'm not glazing Romeo, I'm just wrong and that's just what it is. You know, I can't control the masses, so I'm not gonna try to. But this was my opinion on the whole situation of Outcome Memories getting completely canceled. I already did kind of go over the future of this channel in like 2 videos ago, so I just want to kind of reinstate that. I do plan to continue to make content on this channel. I'm just going to move to ASIMs on Roblox in general instead of just the Sonic. So continue to expect more videos from me in the future. But at this point, I'm just yapping. Please comment down below what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next one.